This is Denali. Yeah. He told you don't do that. He told you. So Bob knows the program. We've done this a lot. What I'm going to do is I want to start ponying Denali here. Denali is, we've done a lot of work at getting him desensitized, getting him where he don't mind things. Won't be long, we'll be getting on his back. But when we do, we're going to do that with him being ponied, so he needs to know how to pony. And the other thing is he just needs to get used to something up above him. See how his head is up? He's kind of raising his head when I move my hand up here. He needs to relax to that. We have been saddling, we've been driving him, we've been sacking him out. He's really broke to all of that kind of stuff, really nice. But now we need to start working towards getting in the saddle. So I'm going to ask him to walk. I want him to follow Bob. Bob is the one that when we get ready to get on his back, we'll be ponying him from Bob. That will keep him from doing anything serious that would hurt him or would hurt the rider. You notice I don't have him dial it off. I'm just carrying the lead rope. I just want him to follow at this point. Not putting a lot of pressure on him. This is the first time that he has seen Bob, so he don't really know Bob. He's being a little bit cautious, which is great. I want him to be cautious. But he has to figure out that Bob's not going to hurt him. But on the other hand, he needs to learn a little bit of respect. See how he's just kind of sticking his nose up Bob's butt? Bob's not going to do anything about it. But Bob will make him behave. He starts nipping, Bob's going to kick at him. That's not acceptable. Part of all this is him learning what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. See Bob swat his tail? He's telling him, no, don't do that. He's asking him nice, don't do that. We'll see. You want to do something about that, Bob? Come on through. This is Denali. Yeah. He told you don't do that. He told you nice with his tail. You gonna listen now? These are the kind of things that Denali needs to know. He needs to respect the other horse's space. If you remember right, I did a lot of groundwork with him because he was coming into my space, getting pretty aggressive. This is the horse that had been a cryptorchid. He has had the surgery, and generally he acts like a gelding now. But I don't put him out with other horses. Most horses here, I try to not put them out with other horses. So he hasn't been out with anybody. I don't know if he was out with other horses before he came here, but he needs to learn to respect other horses' space. Bob told him nice with his tail when he swatted at him with his tail, please don't do that. And when he kept on doing, Bob got a little bit more aggressive. Just like what I do, ask, tell, demand. Bob asked, Bob told, and then he demanded, stay out of my space, don't mess with me there. So you notice we've been doing all right circles. I'm going to eventually get Denali up here so that his face is up here by my leg, because that's where he's going to be when we're ponying. We're going to change directions here. Since I have him so far back, he's most likely going to be swapping sides, which is okay. If you swap sides, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. We need the pony going left and we need the pony going right. Looks like he wants to be on the right still. Now you see, I'm being pretty easy on him. I'm not asking a whole lot other than to follow, which he's doing okay. Now that he's staying out of Bob's space, that was a lesson he had to learn. So I'm going to start working on getting him a little bit shorter. Shorten my rope up a little bit. I'm not going to wrap it around the horn and dally because I don't want to put that much pressure on his body. As long as he'll come along nice and easy, I'll ask nice and easy. If he was a horse that was just sitting back and pulling back and just outright saying no, then I would have to work him a little harder. That's the thing, you don't want to work them any harder than you have to. There's always a risk reward with anything. You always have to balance the risk of what you're doing with the reward of the lesson the horse is going to learn. You'd rather work them easy, you'd rather work them soft, but sometimes the horse just will not let you. So we're going to try to work him easy to begin with. Bob's going to tell you not to put your head there. Let's go back to the right. All right, so now what I want to do, I want to work on getting him, don't put your head there, he done told you once. You didn't learn that lesson? I want to work on getting him up more in position with his head closer to my leg because that's where he's going to be when we're getting on his back. Come on up here. There we go. Good boy. He's just a little worried about getting up in this position. He knows he's getting up in Bob's space, and he hasn't learned what is acceptable and what is not acceptable yet. Just like he learned that sticking his nose under there is not acceptable, he hasn't learned that this is acceptable yet. Just all part of the learning process. So I want to pet him a lot. See how he's out a little ways. I want to pet him a lot so that he gets used to being here. Let's tighten this halter up just a little bit. I want to pet him a lot so that it's used to being up here. I want to make sure this rope doesn't get any place that's going to get us in trouble. There we go. Good boy. Don't bite me. That's not acceptable. Certain things are acceptable, certain things are not. Good boy. Just like everything else, make the right thing easy, the wrong thing hard. He's up here where I want him to be. I'm going to give him a reward for it. Now, if you nip Bob on the shoulder right there, see there? He knows you're thinking about it. He's going to tell you that's not the place to be. I'm going to let Bob work this out. See Bob give him a little nip? Don't bite him. Bob will take so much up to a limit, and then he'll say, nope, that's not acceptable. He's a really good pony horse in that way. He'll actually let the horse do more to him than what I would like, but he will eventually reprimand. My last pony horse was a mare, and she was a little bit more structured, a little bit sterner with the babies I was ponying than what he is, but unfortunately, they all eventually get old. So I think she was somewhere around 20 when I quit ponying off of her. Good boy. Now what's happening here is he feels like I'm grooming on him, so he's grooming on Bob. And you see, Bob understands. They can understand the difference between grooming there. See the difference? Between grooming and nipping. Let him know what's not acceptable. Let's back him up just a little bit. There we go. Good boy. Good boy. Let's go for another walk. You notice Bob is pretty dull to most everything, to rein, to leg. That is on purpose for this situation, because when you're starting a horse and ponying a young horse, horse is going to be laying all over him, going to be laying all over me. All the cues are going to be basically sloppy. I don't know a better way to put it, because that's just the situation. That's how they're going to be. So Bob is dull intentionally. I don't want him to be overreactive to cues. He will steer, he will get off my legs. So this has been a really good first lesson pony in Denali. It went pretty uneventful. Bob taught him a couple of things that he needed to know, and he's a whole lot more used to me being up here above him than what he was when we started. So this is going to be a good place to stop for today. I'll put a link to the other videos that I've done with Denali. Until next time, thank you for watching. Come on. Come on.